Good people, good people, good people. Welcome back to the Guntown Podcast, episode 227. I'm Doug B. If you tuned in to this podcast, thank you for your time and your attention. I really appreciate you giving it a shot. Today's guest is the founder and owner of Weisz 25. I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I'm sure we'll all be inspired by his story. Let's chop it up with Dr. Jeremy Weisz. Dr. Weisz, how's it going, sir?
Doug, great to see you.
Likewise. First things first, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to speak with me a few minutes. I really appreciate it.
This will be fun.
Yes, sir. Of course, we'll talk about all the great things you got going on with Rise 25. But before we talk business, let's get to know the man behind the brand. Born and raised in the Chicago, Illinois area. How was your upbringing in that area?
It's cold here. Sometimes wish I was in Alabama. I don't know what the weather's like there right now, but I sometimes ask my parents, like, why didn't you migrate somewhere warm? It's freezing here. No, it was good. I mean, I like Chicago being in, I kind of take it for granted being like a big city, right? And there's great food, there's great, just stuff going on. I remember, I went to University of Wisconsin for school in undergrad, and it's the capital. It's a small town. I mean, when you come from Chicago, like this is the downtown area is not like downtown Chicago, and so it's funny because some of the people were from rural Wisconsin, and this is like the biggest city that they've ever been to sometimes, and I guess I get spoiled sometimes being from a big city which has a lot of access to a lot of different things.
Mm. Definitely can understand that, and I appreciate you for sharing some of that background. And I haven't been to Chicago yet. I plan to get there one day. But is it true? Is it really the Windy City?
You're living in a cold place when you look at your phone and it says 10 degrees, but feels like negative 10 degrees.
Yikes.
Once you get that feels like, and it's 5 or 10 degrees colder,
Okay.
it's okay. It's cold.
Okay.
It
Awesome
can be
stuff.
brutal.
Okay. Hey, I've definitely heard those Midwest winters are nothing nice. Chicago, Detroit. Yeah, like those areas up there, Wisconsin. Yeah, like in the wintertime, the snow and just the cold to where you walk outside make your face hurt. So I definitely appreciate you for just confirming what I've already heard about
Guess
the
it
Windy City.
toughens me up a little bit. I don't know.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So as you do all your schooling, grade school and all that good stuff, I know you were saying you ended up going to the University of Wisconsin and just getting a chance to leave Chicago and go a state over to Wisconsin. So overall, how was that college experience at the University of Wisconsin for you?
Yeah, I mean, went from Chicago, grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, then went to Wisconsin. And then after that, I went on to chiropractic school in St. Louis. And after St. Louis, I went on and I got a good opportunity in Louisville, Kentucky. So went to Louisville, and it was funny because you appreciate this because you're from the South, right?
Right.
I was in a diner, and by the way, Louisville, I think on the map isn't that far south, but it's definitely Southern hospitality. And I think the first day I was there, I went to lunch, and I was, just ordering something, and the lady's like, "You're not from around here, are you?" I'm like, "No." And she's like, "You're from the north." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess to the north of Chicago, then yes." But everyone, I think I pulled over one just because I didn't know where I was going, and like four people stopped to help. And I was like, wow, Southern hospitality is real here. So, lived in Louisville for a year, then went back home to work, in Chicagoland too. So, but I love my time in the different areas for sure.
Okay. No, I definitely understand that. But so in particular, your time at the University of Wisconsin, how was that college life experience for you?
Well, I mean, I guess so I majored in biochemistry. Okay. I don't know if I'd wish that on many people, Doug, but so I went when I got there the first week, people were like, "Oh, I know why you went to Wisconsin." I'm like, "Why?" And they go, "Well, it's rated the number two party school in the country or something at the time,
Wow.
right below like Arizona State." And I was like, honestly, I spent all my time in the library, so I have no idea what you're talking about. So maybe I should go out and experience it. But my classes were hard. I spent a lot of time in the library. So, in the evening, maybe whatever, from 7 till 2 a.m. or something, I may have been in the library. my friends were at the bars. We both come back at 2. They come back from the bars. I come back from the library, and then we hang out. Right. I'm not a big drinker, so I didn't really need alcohol. That fun, like everyone, it was still a blast. And so we just had kind of parallel lives. And then we met up after hours and ate a lot of pizza. But I had a lot of fun at Madison. It's got a lot of, obviously football when I was there. We had an amazing football team, went to the Rose Bowl. We went to the Final Four for basketball, and I'm a big sports person. So went to hockey games, basketball games, football games, and it's just a beautiful place to be. So no complaints on that end.
Awesome. That's good. Definitely glad you had a good college experience at University of Wisconsin. And like you were saying, you got a chance to go some other places, made your way to down to Louisville, got a taste of that Southern hospitality and where everybody speaks to you and we say y'all down here. We don't say you all, we say y'all down here in the South. Yes, sir.
Exactly.
So awesome stuff. So let's talk about what we're here to talk about, Rise 25s. So whenever I have entrepreneurs on the platform, I'm big into brand names and the origins of brand names. What's the inspiration behind naming the company Rise 25?
That's a good question. I mean, when we are coming up with a company, really what our company does, we help people build amazing relationships and we help people build amazing relationships we launch and run their podcast. We help them with gifting and to their most important people, and we help them get on podcasts. So when we were thinking about building relationships, we believe that rising tides lift all boats, right? So if we help other people, everyone like rises up together. So we knew we wanted to rise in the name and rise.com was taken. And one day, one of our clients said, I feel like with you in my corner, I have an extra hour in the day, right? I can get so much more done. I could build amazing relationships. You're like my 25th hour. And so as soon as we heard that, and plus it's easier to get domain names with numbers in it. So we're like, oh, that's perfect. It was rise and 25.com. And that's how it came about.
Wow, that's a very organic way how the brand name came about. And again, I'm big into brand names, just understanding the origin. So that's really cool that you all were able to come up with the brand name and adding that extra hour, that 25th hour for your clients and putting the word rise in there. And also you just gave me a gem. I had no idea it was easy to get a domain when you include a number. So that's
Totally.
useful information.
We joke around. Doug, we're like, yeah. We checked Rise 1, it was taken, Rise 2, Rise 3, Rise 4, and then we got to Rise 25 and it wasn't. No, it was, yeah, it's so much easier. If you look at some of those domains and you just put a number in there, much easier to get a domain.
Okay. Hey, that's valuable information, great information. And I know you saying so I know you're speaking to some of you all's core products and services and just in terms of teaching people just in the podcasting strategy and of course just looking at you all's website, I see so many different services you all offer. So what about the podcast space? So what was it about the podcast space that made you all want to come into business and actually be a strategist for
Yeah.
podcasters?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question because my background, as you know, is as a chiropractor. And so I never set out to start a company doing this. But, in chiropractic school, they do not teach you business. They don't teach you marketing. They don't teach you these things. And so when I got out of school and into practice, I was going to marketing and business conferences. And we're talking around 2007-ish. And then I stumbled across this thing. It wasn't called podcasting because most people didn't know what a podcast was, but there were some people I had met that were doing interviews and publishing them online. And I took to that. That was everything, Doug, that I love, right? It's professional development. I get to learn from people. It's networking, it's relationships, it's also content marketing, all wrapped up into one 30 to 45-minute conversation. So I am also intrigued by entrepreneurs and founders and how they built their business. So I started reaching out and having some of these founders on that I'd met at some of these, marketing business conferences that I found fascinating and publishing the interviews online. And really at the time, it was a podcast, right? Then people were coming to me asking me to help them launch and run their podcast. Again, I have a full chiropractic practice, massage therapist, etc. And I said, sure, you know what? I love this medium. Sure, I'll help. And so I built a team all virtual remote at the time to help me because I was seeing patients. So I couldn't really do all of the stuff that it took to get the podcast out there. And so I basically built up a team and started taking on clients to help them launch and run their podcast. And that's how it came about, really. It was really organic. And then, more and more people just kept coming. People would refer other people and say, yeah, I want to start this podcast. And then, by the way, at the time, most people were just seeing just small pieces of this, not until probably actually COVID, where it became more popular, like really popular, right? Where people were like, okay, I'm sitting, I don't know how to network, I don't know where to go because the trade shows are shut down. Like, I need something else. And so there was a flood of people that came in for that. Now they're realizing, wait, if I can avoid getting on a plane, going to a trade show, if I don't have to go to this conference, I could do this sitting in the comfort of my office or home. This is great. So I think the media, and now very popular. There's so many commercials and TV shows and movies that talk about podcasting in general. Now, we don't do business podcast or like true crime podcasts or comedy podcasts or sports podcasts. We only do business podcasts. So if it's a business, so if someone comes to me, I have this great idea for like a football show, we don't do those because we want to make sure that there's a path to ROI. And that's a very difficult path to ROI unless you are like a famous football player that has a large following or something like that. So really we stick to businesses, and it could be the most random businesses of all time. So it could be like we have law firms, medical office, we have a pest control business. It could be software companies, manufacturing companies, agencies, cybersecurity companies, all sorts of companies, but they all have businesses and they all want to have authority in their space. And so that's how it kind of organically came about.
Okay, awesome. And that's great that you got a chance to get exposed to that conference you were speaking about, that marketing conference. And I would imagine being in chiropractic school, they wouldn't necessarily, teach you all about business and marketing and things of that nature. And what's interesting is, being a chiropractor, like that's how you build your business through relationships, ironically. And I mean, your customers are your billboards, and when you do good work, they refer you and they tell other people about you. So that's interesting that that's not taught, but that's great that you had enough curiosity to even want to ex- explore this realm and go down this rabbit hole of learning about podcasting. And I mean, I enjoy podcasts myself because I just enjoy hearing different perspectives. And to that point, during COVID, that's when I got heavily exposed to podcasts, and that's when I launched my podcast. So that's great that you got exposed to this particular realm and you started a business, got Rise 25, and you got doing great things and teach people how to launch their podcast. So awesome stuff. Very organic the way how you came up with everything. Whenever I have entrepreneurs on the platform like yourself, I like to talk about three things: the aha moment, action, and audacity. Take us back to your aha moment when you realized you wanted to actually turn this into a business that became Rise 25.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know if there was a big aha. I think for me, more of the ahas is not even when I was turning into a business, but I saw the power of it. Okay. And one of those was, and I'm like, listen, I'm not anything special. Like anyone could do this, right? I didn't, I make amazing connections. Like on my podcast, I've had the co-founder of Pixar and Atari and P90X and RX Bar. And, I remember I had a, Doug, I had a venture capitalist on my podcast. Okay. I just met the person, did not know them. They found me. It was introduced by someone. And after the podcast, we were just chatting about what type of guests I was looking for. And I was like, what? I'm really looking for founders, entrepreneurs of software type companies, tech companies. And he said, Jeremy, I go, so if you know any, let me know. And he's like, Jeremy, let me think about it. All right. Usually what that means is I'm never going to get back to you. Like just because they're busy. It's not anything mean. And so I was like, okay, cool. He's like, I'll think about it. I'm like, okay, I'll probably never hear from the person again, whatever. And a couple of days later, they sent me a list of 27 people. And they said, Jeremy, I was thinking about it, and here's a first draft of the people I think would be interesting for you. And there was 27 people on this list. And just to give you an idea of the caliber of person, one of the people was one of the founder of Weisz that sold to Google for over $1 billion. Those were the people on the list. At that moment, I realized, holy cow, this is powerful. I went from someone I did not know to obviously sharing the world of what he's working on the podcast, but then being willing to introduce me to 27 of his colleagues and people he knows. So that was a big aha. This is a powerful medium, right? So I just love helping people connect to other people in their universe doing that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a powerful aha moment, getting that list of clients and just looking at the caliber of clients that was on that list. And that's where all great ideas start, in my opinion. They all start with an aha moment. And after you have your aha moment, you have to take action on that aha moment. So let's talk about the action portion. So from the time you had the initial aha moment, how long did it take you to take action and start reaching out to people on that list to start setting up interviews and getting the ball rolling?
I mean, listen, I think that you're spot on. Action is number one. Someone can have ideas, they could have thoughts. Until there's action, nothing happens, right? And I mean, for me, I'm a take action type of person. Okay. So for that, it's easy. It's like, okay, here I like to make it very easy for people, right? Because people are busy. And if someone offers me, they introduce me, I like to do what we call a no work introduction. Okay. A no work introduction. There's like a no work introduction. There's like a little bit of work introduction. Okay. I will say, let's say, Doug, you offered just like the VC. Say, listen, I don't want you to do any work. Is it cool if I reach out to these people on LinkedIn and mention your name and tell them you thought it would be a fit? So I put no work on that person. I'm not saying, hey, why don't you introduce me? Blah, blah, blah. I just want to take all of the work off of it. So if they go, usually people are like, sure, that's no problem, but I'm happy to do it. Fine. If they're not, I'll just go to LinkedIn, message them, and I'll say, hey, so, Doug, mentioned you, thought you'd be a great guest. We talked about you. Here's some information. Love to have you on, right? It's a give, right? There's no cost, there's no fee involved. So I like when I'm reaching out, I like it to be a give, not an ask, right? Now, if they say to me, yeah, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'd love to make an intro. No worries. Cool. Then what I'll do is I'll send them an exact email to them that they can forward to the person. Okay. Or they can copy and paste it, but like literally just forward it. I'll say, this is something you forward and feel free to just introduce me. So they don't have all they have to do is hit the forward button on their computer. I send them all the details they need. That's it. So it should take them 1 second. I see the mistakes people make with that is, yeah, introduce me. And they don't give a bio of themselves. Like I literally just give them the email, okay, to forward. Because I know people are busy. And so, yes, action is number one. So I want to take it in my own hands. Even if people offer to make the introduction, I still want to go to LinkedIn or wherever your social media of choice is. I know a lot of B2Bs on LinkedIn, and I'll message them directly. And I kind of, I may message them on LinkedIn, I may message them on Facebook or both at the same time, just because I don't know where they check. And so, that I definitely action is key.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. That's what it comes down to. I mean, having an idea, putting action behind it, that's really the only way to get the ball rolling, to get any type of any type of motion. Because you can read, you can watch videos, you can go to all the conferences you want, but until you put boots on the ground and take action, nothing happens.
I mean, and to that point, it could be just brands I don't know, right? So I
Mhm.
remember I was, at a grocery store. I like kombucha, you know, and there's a wild tonic kombucha brand. I'm like, this is so good. This is so good. I need to have this person on my podcast. So as I was walking home, I snapped a picture of me drinking it. I look on the back of the bottle, email them, and say, I love your kombucha. Okay. Do you want to come on? I'd love to have your founder on my show. Now, of course, copywriting 101, I included some social proof in there. Hey, I've had this founder and this founder and this founder and this founder and this founder. So like this person's not some random person asking for this. But within 10 minutes, by the time I got home, they had responded, sure, that'd be great. Right. And that's just an action of I'm just not afraid to reach out. The worst thing is they say no or don't respond. So I took a shot.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Just taking a shot. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is you can get a no, and no ain't never hurt nobody. You just learn, hey man, I mean, rejection, it happens. Like, no matter what field you're in, at some point in time, you're gonna hear the word no, but that's nothing to keep you from taking action. The last portion, audacity, is one thing to have an idea, is another thing to put action behind it, but to put it out to the world, to be praised or criticized is where the audacity comes in my opinion. What would you say gave you that audacity to put Rise 25 out to the world?
I think it's just I guess I visualize it similar to exercise, right? It's just flexing a muscle, and the more the muscle gets flexed, the easier it gets. And so I think some obstacles I get with other people and myself in the beginning was it's just showing up. You know this. You could be on camera, you could be on audio, and people have different things they're insecure about, or, I said a lot, or I don't like how I talk, or whatever it is. They have all these things that hold them back from going out there, right? And it could have held me back, one, just because I already have this career in business, right? But I said, I'd like to just explore. It was a passion, it was exciting. And so I just went out and did it, right? And I could have been like, well, and it was nothing about health too, Doug. So I could have been like, well, what are my patients going to think if they see it? Because it's nothing to do with health. It's just about business. I could have made up all these stories, but I just followed with my gut. I'm like, this is fun. I like doing this. If they find it, they find it. That's fine. No problem. And so I just started putting stuff out there. And the more I did it, the more natural it became, right? And I remember there was a video I did and I forgot I was repeating something as I was talking, and I was reading the comments on YouTube. And the person's like, decent content, but the host sucks, or something, like the host kept saying XYZ over and over again. I forgot what it was. And I looked at the comment, and I'm like, they're exactly right. I was repeating something. I don't remember if it was an or an ah or whatever it was. Like they kept repeating a phrase, and I go, they're right. And I just learned from it and try to keep getting better. And it was just doing it, flexing the muscle.
What it comes down to, just flexing the muscle, just doing it. That's, hey, just having that courage to just continue to show up. Because no matter what, when you set out to do something new, you're gonna be good and terrible at first. But that's why we practice. Because you think about it, Doc, when we're born, we don't know how to walk, talk, feed ourselves, but we figure it out just with anything else. And that's my mindset when it comes to taking on a new endeavor. I mean, listen, I'm gonna be terrible at first, but over time, practice, repetition, things tend to work out. So that's good that you kept showing up. And in my opinion, that's 80% of the battle, just showing up consistently.
You're exactly right. Totally.
Yes, sir. So you've done great things. You work with some great clients, big time clients. You're doing great things with the company. And I'm sure great things are coming down the pipeline with Rise 25. So I got to ask you, as it relates to short term and long term goals for the company, you feel comfortable sharing. What are those?
Yeah, I mean, our goals are always how do we best serve the clients we have? Because I know if we best serve the clients we have, it's going to help other people, down the line. So, I mean, our goals are to, our biggest goal is just to keep any client churn to a minimum, right? Keep clients happy. All right. We have a meeting 3 times a week where we talk about our all hands meeting where we talk about every single client. Okay. Sometimes we never, for the longest time, Doug, we never even told people we did this. And up until this past year, we started telling our clients, like, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but we actually have an all hands meeting and we are chatting about you 3 times a week, everyone on the team, to see how can we help them, what's going on, is there anything we need to do better? Is there anything that they need from us? And so a big goal is just keeping our clients, customers happy. And that's, goes into making sure we reduce churn, right? And because we know if they're successful, we're going to be successful. And that's a huge goal. And if we focus on that, I feel like we don't have to worry about getting more and more new clients, right? And so that's one, it's a big goal. And, another big goal is just we're really, our gifting program has come on organically, right? So we started sending to all of our clients and referral partners gifts every 4 months, okay, like 3 times a year for 4 years or plus. And people started asking us to help them. we never promoted it as a service, right? And so one of our big goals is to actually, like, just to say we never had a web page for it. Like people just ask us, we go, sure, we could do that, and we have an email. It's like, okay, we should we have a process in place, but it's really to grow that piece of the business in addition to the podcast piece. So that's a big goal for us because people love it and it's totally hands off for them. And so just marketing that more is a big goal for us too.
Awesome. Those are great goals. And like you said, continue to evolve and enhance the client experience. That's what I got from everything you were saying. Like just continue to grow your clientele and enhance that experience. That's really what it comes down to. Like you said, you do that, the rest of it will speak for itself because at the end of the day, your clients are your billboards. And if they're talking about you and referring you, all it's going to do is just draw in more business. And I have no doubt everything you continue to touch with Rise 25 will turn to gold.
Well, not everything, but we try.
Hey,
Yes.
hey, yes, sir, absolutely. So that's good stuff. As we wrap up the podcast, I want to ask $1 million question. So I originally started this podcast because I wanted to highlight businesses and entrepreneurs with roots or ties to Montgomery, Alabama. However, for the sake of this conversation, Dr. Wise, I got to ask you just in terms as it relates to your legacy. When it's all said and done, 100 years from now, when people are talking about Rise 25, what do you want people to be able, what do you want your legacy to be 100 years from now when both of us are long gone?
Yeah, you know what? The underlying reason, yes, the podcast helps people form amazing relationships, partnerships, clients. I've, been able to meet um, people that I've gone to people's weddings. I've gone to family vacations with people because of the podcast. But I feel like that question, the underlying reason that really drives me for the podcast is legacy. And every guest I have, I really take it seriously that it's leaving their legacy through a video, right? Because usually the podcasts like yours will go on, when I produce an episode on Inspired Insider, it's a blog post, it goes on YouTube, it goes across all the podcast channels, and it is something that leaves a legacy. So I feel like one, just focusing on people and delivering value to people, and I feel that's what I would like the legacy to say, just delivering value to people. But the podcast stuff leaves a legacy beyond ourselves. So I feel like when you're doing these episodes, you're putting content out there, it's going to live out there, right? And so I feel the process actually helps create legacy. And I remember unfortunately had several people on the podcast who passed away. And one in particular, I featured Jordan Guernsey on my podcast. He was a young guy, by the way, and he had stage 4 melanoma, I believe. I had him on the podcast, and he talked about his journey. And shortly after he died, I got a message from one of his family members thanking me for the interview and saying, Jeremy, I think you really captured the essence of Jordan on that interview. And we watched it after he died. And I'm like, wow, that's powerful. You know what I mean? And so that's what I think of. Each interview I do helps someone else leave a legacy. It leaves a legacy for me too, but for them as well. So I love that question and just trying to keep doing what I'm doing, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. That's powerful. Everything that you just said in terms of the podcast itself being the legacy, the conversation being the legacy. So definitely appreciate you for just sharing that. Dr. Wise, how can the people connect with you? What are your social media handles and website?
Yeah, I mean, if you're on LinkedIn, I'm most active on LinkedIn. You could find me. Just look up Jeremy and then Weisz, Weisz. And then if you go to Inspired Insider podcast, inspiredinsider.com, and could check out the episodes for free or, there's a contact us that will make its way to me as well. And then rise25.com, if there's a contact page too, feel free to reach out.
Sounds good. Too easy. And of course, I'll put all of that information in the description of the episode. Dr. Wise, thanks again for the conversation. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good people, that concludes another dope episode of the Gumptown Podcast. In the meantime, in between time, y'all know what to do. Be blessed, be safe, but most importantly, have the audacity to be you. Go.